Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas.
I'm Heidi Henry, and I'm in your face.
I'm Murray Briel, trying to save the human race.
And Murray, we're coming to you again from the edge of the Great Red Divide, and we're going to talk about Joni Ernst, the senator from Iowa. And you know, I've spent some time recently in Iowa.
Yes. Heidi took this amazing, for those of you who might not have heard our last show, Heidi took this amazing journey through the Heartland, where she reached out to Democrats and talked to farmers and talked to Republicans and interviewed candidates, and it was just this amazing adventure. So as we progress, we're going to be reiterating and talking about different parts of her adventure.
I really did stop in coffee shops and diners and talk to people, unlike Rahm Emanuel, who claimed he did.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure he didn't. So anyway, little segue.
So Joni Ernst is a senator from Iowa. She's the junior senator from Iowa.
Yep.
She actually replaced a Democrat.
Yes, Harkin.
And she did that in 2014. He retired and she ran for his open seat and won. So this election will be her first that she has run as an incumbent.
Right.
And it should be somewhat interesting, particularly since you did this exploration of Iowa and really got a chance to talk to the people. And when you talk about her, she is
polarizing.
Very. She is very right wing, very Trump supportive,
very wealthy person supportive.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's talk a few numbers, shall we, about our darling Miss Ernst?
Here's the one thing that strikes me about Joni Ernst is that the median income, the per capita income rather, in Iowa is about $30,000. And yet only 3% of her constituency is over $200,000, but every vote that she makes favoring Trump's tax scam favors just 3% of her constituency and harms the rest.
She has a 100% voting rate to vote for taxing the middle class.
I know.
She has a 100% rate with big business. She votes 100% of the time. She votes 91% of the time to narrow your civil rights.
Yes.
To take away your civil rights.
Yep.
She is just delightful. She has a 93% rating from the NRA.
Yippee.
She votes 12% of the time for public health. She votes 2.4% of the time to protect the environment.
2.4%.
2.4%. She is 98% of the time, her votes favor the wealthy.
Exactly. And when you have that type of voting record, you know, Murray, they always say, well, how will that play in Peoria? I'm telling you, it's not playing well in Peoria. Or not Peoria, but in Iowa.
I'm like, is there Peoria in Iowa?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
So she's not looking out for the people that she is supposed to be representing.
No, not at all.
And that's on a full gamut of issues, from health care to environmental rights to wage gap protections.
To civil liberties. She has an F rating with the
ACLU.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the thing is that people think of the ACLU for minority issues.
It's not.
Only 3% of Iowa is black. A smaller percentage is Latino. So she's not looking out for anyone but herself and the 3% of wealthy Iowans. That's all.
She sits on the very powerful agricultural committee, which I think is so interesting because she is against fighting off Trump's tariffs, which are damaging. She makes a big deal out of pushing the ethanol gas that they have in Iowa.
But
Iowa's weird. If you're going to Iowa and you're not there. In Illinois, in Indiana, in Ohio, wherever you go, you may see like an E85 or some sort of ethanol product.
Iowa has something better.
But the prices go up accordingly. Yeah. So if you want regular, it's one price. If you want super, it's another price. Right. Ultimate, it's a higher price.
Right. But
they don't do it that way in Iowa. It's very confusing.
It's very awesome. It's because it's such a great environmental program, because they use a premium unleaded using ethanol blends to help sell Iowa corn and keep the environment cleaner. Here's the problem, is that with Joni Ernst's help, Trump has given waivers to all of the plants that blend ethanol into gasoline, so that they're not buying Iowa corn, so that they're not making ethanol, so that they're not selling this product, which is required under Iowa state law. So it's just harming farmers over and over again. And when you've taken away markets through tariffs, and now you're taking away markets through ethanol, Joni Ernst, I don't care what you claim to be doing to save ethanol, you're not doing anything for your farmers, which are the majority of your constituency.
There are more agricultural livestock than there are people
in Iowa. And speaking of which,
very livestock heavy, very farm heavy.
Part of our tariff issues, Iowa is a huge pork producer, but Smithfield, which is owned by China, is part and parcel to Iowa agriculture. What Stan and I found when we were in Iowa were all these boutique pork producers where you could buy pork raised on their farm at little farm stands, and we brought some home, and it was fabulous and processed in a small boutique fashion. So I really like that. That's them fighting back
against Smithfield and
the tariffs.
Farmers.
Yeah, because really with the tariffs, there's no money right now for hogs. So, so here's one of the things that Joni Ernst has done that's really been upsetting to me, and that's the Cradle Act, which she's trying to put forward to through the Senate to help take Social Security and give it to people is paid family leave. So instead of making a paid family leave act, she's asking people that are part of the gig economy, working families, single mothers, the poorest, low-income people, so you can stay home with your baby the first 6 weeks, or so that you can stay home if your child has special needs, or so that you can stay home rather than because you can't afford childcare. She wants you to use your Social Security up front, Marie.
Right.
You know what then happens? At the back end,
it disenfranchises people on such a grand scale. We have to think about that, because if you're, especially if you're a first time, even if you're both two income family and you're a first time parent, those are expenses that you're not even thinking about. And that's plying at emotions and
I can stay home with my baby. And
because I'm not thinking about
what happens when I'm 68. Yeah.
60, well, by then it'll be 92 or something insane.
And here's what it's going to cause is down the road a huge glut of super poor people that don't have money in savings, that don't have 401ks, that don't have assets, liquid assets, that are poor without food, water, shelter, health care. This is what Joni Ernst is planning for you, Iowa, for the United States. And this is appalling and diabolical.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. If you're planning to, in her plan to close door plans to bankrupt Social Security and Medicare, because they want to take that money to pay down this enormous debt.
I have an idea. How about we fix our social safety net by taking the cap off of Social Security. Take the cap off. If everyone can contribute what they make, guess what? We won't have this problem.
We have been talking about taking the cap off of Social Security.
That would solve so many of our issues.
It would keep Social Security solvent. It's an easy fix, but the wealthy are the ones that are fighting it.
And 100% of the time, Joni Ernst likes the wealthy over you.
The average citizen.
I'm going to say most of the Republican senators feel that way.
Oh, yeah. Well. I don't feel, when your average income in Iowa, your per capita is at 30,000, your average income is around 50. What does the average senator make? Is it 170?
147 or 74? 174. $1,000.
How can somebody making $174,000 a year tap into...
And now stop. That's before they get per diem.
Yes.
That's before they get their committee stipends or any extra things that they do. Plus, remember that their travel is taken care of, and they don't. So there's a lot of perks to that increase. Plus, your health care. that expand what that base salary actually is.
So on average, I've read that it's about $210,000 a year. You tell me, Joni Ernst, at $210,000 a year, how you can understand somebody who's a family that's at $50,000 a year. You can't. You are in a completely different stratosphere, making 4 times what they're making. You don't understand the struggle.
Living in an environment that the cost of living is ridiculously small.
Yeah.
Comparatively speaking to the states around it.
Right.
You know?
So I just feel that Joni Ernst is out of touch, and luckily she's got 4 challengers in the upcoming election. So, and I met one of them. I met retired Admiral Mike Franken, who was just amazing. And
any relation to Al?
No relation to Al Franken.
I'm sorry, Al should have never left. He should not have been pushed out.
You know, and one day we're going to talk about, I met enlightened people from Minnesota on my trip that happened to be in Iowa, and we'll talk about their take on everything. But the other challenger she has is Eddie Mayero, Kimberly Graham, and Teresa Greenfield, who has a lot of endorsements behind her. And I'm telling you, any one of those is going to be a better representative of the people of Iowa than Joni Ernst. Right? So, but I want to talk to you about how the people of Iowa, and primarily I spend a lot of time in Southwest Iowa.
Now, Southwest Iowa has done...
Southwest Iowa Democrat.
She does. Now, Southwest Iowa, just to recap in case you missed it from our first or missed it when we were talking with Ben Jarofsky, they have done some amazing things. They have been able to take a state that was completely ignored by D.C., and get them interested and engaged. In fact, the DCCC has now come in to Southwest Iowa and said, hey, what can we do to support you? Because of the type of grassroots organizing that they've been able to do.
So the thing is that out there, the word vast starts to come into play. As we cross the Mississippi from Illinois, where we live, and we go into Iowa, things get more spread out. And people to get to meetings and fundraisers and things may drive hours. Okay? So when that happens, it's hard to unify the message. But what the people of Southwest Iowa did is they took multiple counties and joined together. So it's not just Page County or Cass County or Potawatomi County doing these things. It's all of them working together. So by working together, they created bigger muscles and a bigger impact on the upcoming elections.
We could learn a few lessons around here with that as well.
Oh my gosh. And just to being so visible in the community. And I think community visibility is key to everything that they do. So they're drawing people in, helping people feel a part of the community. Understanding that not everybody is in the same place, that there are a lot of Republicans out there that needed a place to land, especially if you're in a farming community. You know, and the one thing they talked to me about is out there, they kept giving them union talking points. Well, their union jobs are long gone. They were never really part of the Rust Belt. They were already part of the agriculture belt. They do have union trades out there. They do, but closer to the Mississippi and further north. Right.
But
But those talking points don't work well in Southwest Iowa. So they needed to form other talking points and focused on healthcare and education and environmental issues, and especially with the ravaging floods that they had out there. When I was out there, I was able to drive through towns that have been completely obliterated by the spring floods, and we're getting ready to be flooded again by a system that was up in the Dakotas. And when the Dakotas open their storm gates, their floodgates, and let water out, it comes down and fills this basin in Iowa. And on the other side of the river from them, Nebraska is higher. They don't get the full impact down in that southwest corner like Southwest Iowa does. So, but seeing that climate change is real and it's right on top of them, and based on the rain we've had here in Illinois, it's probably pounding them again now.
So it's fairly safe to say that instead of feeding into the talking points that they're given by the parties, by the powers that be, instead of treating people in those rural areas the way that we're told the messaging needs to be, Southwest Iowa banded together and created their own messaging
Right.
based on what's important, what's necessary, what they need.
Right. The
And
needs of their
because
community.
they created that new messaging,
Right.
they've been able to grow and gain power and work with politicians. So, hey, the brain trusts that exist that like to tell us, you know, like Heidi, when you were running, you would get very frustrated because the talking points for some of the schools that you went through, the campaign election
Yeah.
trainings that you went through, were talking at poor people.
Talking at poor, talking at rural, talking at ag, not talking with, not
Talking
discovering what we
at.
need. And I saw that in a greater proportion in Southwest Iowa, where they had been talked at a lot.
So they decided, let's do what we need for
Yeah.
us and make a difference. And it actually worked.
Creating their
Go
own
figure.
conversation, their own network of people.
Southwest Iowa is absolutely everything that we could hope to be.
Well, I look at it as, you know, and I hate to use the word beacon of hope, but I've got nothing else to equate it to. For those of us that feel so disenfranchised by our by the Democratic Party, we're always told how big our umbrella is until it comes to rural, until it comes to ag, until it comes to non-union areas, and then we're just left out of the discussion. We're disregarded.
And the media plays us off as being right-wing
And stupid.
conservative and not
Undereducated.
educated. And there are valid points to not having the information, as we've talked about
Right.
many times. Not having access to that information, not having internet, not having, you know, services that you need. But we also, there's large portions of us that get written off.
Right.
That deserve to have a voice. And that's what I find so amazing
Yeah.
about Southwest Iowa is they've not just realized that they deserve a voice, they figured out a way to get that voice. They
take
figured
it.
it out, they created the vehicle, it's gassed up and it's going, and others are joining on board. That's just amazing.
And where, you know, I went through the Rust Belt Rising and Build a Bench forums. This is a forum I think that's even greater because it encompasses the entire middle of the country. These are issues that impact us from rural Illinois all the way to California because we are spread out. We don't have access to communications like people in the city do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our
I
children,
100% agree.
Our children leave the area to find better jobs in the city, okay? But they leave us behind, and we need to know that we still are valued and still matter.
Because without the rural aspect of our country,
We don't eat.
exactly. While it may not be a high population density, it is crucial
Vital.
to the United States. It's crucial to everything we do. Without food,
I think if the DCCC, if
be
you're
really
listening, you need to get these women together. It was mostly women. There was a few men there, but you need to get together, sit down, and brainstorm with these people because I learned more in the day the day I got to spend with them, traipsing all over Southwest Iowa, than I had learned even with all the study that I do here in Illinois, even more than we learned when we took our trip to Cincinnati and went through Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.
So we need to plan some more road trips. If you
Yeah.
would like us to come out where you are, let us know. We would love to hear what's going on in your neck of the woods.
So I want to give you a couple ideas because that was super fun, and we need to go back. And they've invited us out to do caucusing with them. I don't know if we're going to drive 8 hours to go caucus with them, but we might.
We are.
Are we?
We're going.
All right,
we
Southwest
are going.
Iowa.
Heck yeah, we're totally going.
So when they were talking about different things, I want to give a couple shout outs to people that I met. I met Jackie Condon, who is Adams County Democrats, and she's also part of Indivisible out there for Southwest Iowa, and Indivisible near and dear to my heart. Jan Notice, who is the Montgomery County Activist of the Year out there. Chris Adcock, Page County Chair. They introduced me to Mike Franklin. They took me all the way up to Council Bluffs so that I could meet some of the people in Potawatomi County and hear at a larger meeting what people are doing to bring people in. And the fact that they are inclusive, the fact that they understand that the umbrella of the Democratic Party is large enough and can absolutely shelter all of these different ideas and ideals, and value is added to our messaging. So they came up with everything, the things that we all do out here, trivia nights and drinking liberally, which I really love. They had a forum on firearms in the country. Firearms in the country. So talking to farmers like me who are gun owners, different than talking to gun enthusiasts that may have bigger firepower than we have. That we own guns for different reasons in the country.
Again, there is another section that we get lumped into.
Right.
Gun-toting nuts as opposed to...
I own a gun and I'm not a nut. I don't think I'm a nut. So.
Well,
I guess most nuts don't think you are. So go, yeah. But but those are really important conversations we need to have. I have tried to talk to people locally, and I have to tell you that gun ownership in Illinois is different than gun ownership in Southwest Iowa. That you have people that are enthusiasts, but not people that are as armed to the hilt as we find in our area, right? So I don't know.
I can't speak to Des Moines. Des Moines is pretty heavily armed. There's
is it?
My knowledge of Indianola, Eugene, all of these places that surround Iowa or surround Des Moines, west of Iowa City, are very gun enthusiastic.
Okay. So
at least that's been my experience.
But I think having conversations with people about what's important and what's not important in gun ownership, about the different levels of... My dad was we'll say enthusiast. My pops had an arsenal, and we got to play with a lot of fun stuff. Was he ever going to go shoot up a garlic festival? Absolutely not. But we have to understand where people are coming from and the importance of gun ownership. So my dad wasn't one of those guys that you'd take him away from, and neither are these people. So, and we don't ever want to advocate for that. And I think that is a difficult road for Democrats, because we get lumped in this weird disarmament conversation.
And I would like to make a statement out there to State Representative Lance Yednock.
Oh, no. He's from Illinois, not Iowa.
I know. Well, I'm just sorry I got sidetracked for a second. I would like you to know that Heidi and I have never wanted to disarm the country. That is not what our
intent told me that the other day.
Is or was.
Never.
So we just wanted to clarify that for you, Representative.
Well, and I told him that we'd put him on a timeout because of his vote on RHA. So he went after me with he's a Democrat, and he went after me with Republican. Well, with NRA talking points.
We won't go into it. Anyway,
I don't want to go into that because it distracts from the positive message that Democrats can have, and the fact that we can work on future-ready schools, and that we can work on a firearms discussion that includes everyone, and that we can work on a jobs program and the advance of broadband and communications in the rural systems, and that by coming together and finding our common ground, our common goals, that we can reach for the stars like the Southwest Iowa Democrats have.
That's an amazing group, and I cannot wait to meet them. Heidi was so lucky. She would send me pictures and notes and text me, and I'd be like, I'm jealous. Stop it. I
wish you were here.
So we get to go back out, and we will be out to visit them. But thank you so much for everything you do. Iowa, thank you for
leading the charge on this, because you're making a difference where it counts the most. And if there's anything the Heartland Mamas can do to help you advance your message, we're here for you.
We are happy to do it.
So I guess we're coming out to caucus with you.
Well, that wraps up an episode for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Mm-hmm. You can find us at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS, everywhere. Twitter.
Start
Facebook.
with the .com with our website, and it will link you to everything. And you can download us, share us, please, because the biggest reason we do this is to advance the message of the Democrats, of the Democratic Party, of progressivism from my point of view, or from our point of view, for future thinking as mothers, trying to look out for our community, our state, our country, the Heartland. So
thanks again for joining us. Please subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Make sure to follow us, and we'll talk soon.
take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.